हे ऑल, हेलो ऑल, दिस इज चरवाक लोकायत और मैं चरवाक लोकायत आप सभी का स्वागत करता हूं आज के इस लाइव में। और आज का जो लाइव का विषय है वो है जियो पॉलिटिक्स रिलेटेड। बाय द वे, आज आई नो कि आज इलेक्शन के रिजल्ट्स है राजस्थान, मध्य प्रदेश, छत्तीसगढ़ और तेलंगाना के। एंड एनी हाउ, कंग्रेचुलेशंस टू द बोथ द पार्टी, कांग्रेस फॉर विनिंग तेलंगाना and BJP for winning Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh, and Chhattisgarh convincingly. So, that lot of people are just speculating, doing their own analysis and अपना अपना ज्ञान बांट रहे हैं. But anyhow, keeping aside, I wouldn't be talking about the today's state election results basically. मैं उस पे नहीं चर्चा कर रहा हूं. मैं आज चर्चा कर रहा हूं जियो पॉलिटिक्स पे. Geopolitics has several bigger implications, okay? Because आप कोई भी गवर्नमेंट को वोट कर सकते हो. यू कैन वोट इवन इन कांग्रेस अलायंस, यूपीए अलायंस और इंडिया अलायंस और बीजेपी. यू कैन वोट एनी पार्टी यू लाइक internally in our country as a head of the state, okay? But geopolitics is not like that. Geopolitics is determined by the upheavals that go economically, the upheavals and investments that happen across the borders, foreign direct investments from various countries, plus the military and the arms industries, supply chain. I mean uh, diplomatic relation, economic relation, and military relation. Basically, to put it this way, that's exactly what determines the geopolitics of any country. मतलब अगर आप जियोपॉलिटिक्स की अगर हम बात करते हैं तो जैसे मैंने अभी बताया, और खैर आज का स्टेट इलेक्शन जो रिजल्ट है आई थिंक आप सब जानते हैं. सो लेट्स होप फॉर द बेस्ट कमिंग ईयर. बट एनी हाउ, मैं उस पर भी चर्चा नहीं करूंगा. वो आज हमारा विषय नहीं है, वो मुद्दा नहीं है. जियो पॉलिटिक्स हमारा मुद्दा है. और जियो पॉलिटिक्स की जब हम बात करते हैं, ये फर्क नहीं पड़ता कि भाई आपका आइडियोलॉजी खुद का क्या है. ये ज्यादा फर्क पड़ता है कि चल क्या रहा है दुनिया में, इकोनॉमिक रिलेशंस कैसे है, इकोनॉमिक ट्रेंड कैसा है, आपका तेल का व्यापार कैसा है, फॉरेन इन्वेस्टमेंट कितने आपके आ रहे हैं, इन्वेस्टमेंट, आपका इकोनॉमिक रिलेशंस किसके साथ है, डिप्लोमेटिक रिलेशंस किसके साथ है, आपका मिलिट्री रिलेशंस और ट्रेड किसके साथ है. ये जो है सबसे ज्यादा डिटरमिन करता है आपका फॉरेन पॉलिसी. बट अनफॉर्चुनेटली रिसेंटली इंडिया में जो अभी की वर्तमान की जो सरकार है, भाजपा सरकार सेंटर में, कहीं ना कहीं वो जियो पॉलिटिक्स को लेके एकदम काइंड ऑफ बैकफुट पे है, अनफॉर्चुनेटली. ओके, मैं ये नहीं कहूंगा कि मनमोहन सिंह का ज्यादा बेटर था या वाजपेयी का ज्यादा बेटर था, बट कम से कम उनके जितना हमारा बुरा भी तो था नहीं था. हम उससे भी ज्यादा बुरे गए हैं, बुरे गुजरे हैं अनफॉर्चुनेटली अभी के टाइम पे. मेरा ये कहना है, ठीक है. सो हमारा प्रॉब्लम क्या है आज के टाइम पे? हमारा अगर हम हिस्टोरिकली थोड़ा एनालिसिस करते हैं तो हमारा जो बेस्ट फ्रेंड रहा है थ्रू आउट सिंस द इंडिपेंडेंस एंड द पोस्ट इंडिपेंडेंस, ठीक है, वो है रशिया. सोवियत यूनियन के टाइम में हमारे साथ अच्छे रिलेशंस थे इंडिया और उसके. अभी भी जो है पोस्ट कोलैप्स ऑफ सोवियत यूनियन रशिया हमारा अच्छा दोस्त रहा है, मिलिट्रीली, डिप्लोमेटिकली एंड इवन मे बी टू एन एक्सटेंट इकोनॉमिकली, क्योंकि हमने उनके साथ तेल भी, बहुत सारे नेचुरल गैस और तेल भी खरीदते हैं. सो दैट हैज बीन बेनिफिशियल टू इंडिया एज वेल. बट रिसेंटली ओवर द ईयर हमने ये भी देखा है कि इंडिया का एक शिफ्ट हुआ है. बेसिकली मैं आपको समझाता हूँ जियो पॉलिटिक्स में हो क्या रहा है. देयर इज ए ग्लोबल साउथ और ग्लोबल नॉर्थ. मतलब भू उत्तर, भू दक्षिण. जो भू दक्षिण के देश है उसमें आपका जो इन्फ्लुएंशियल पावर है वो है चाइना, इंडिया, साउथ ईस्ट एशिया, और आपके जो अफ्रीकन कंट्रीज है, लैटिन अमेरिकन कंट्रीज है, सेंट्रल अमेरिका के जो देश है वो आपके आते हैं ग्लोबल साउथ में. ग्लोबल नॉर्थ आपका क्या है? ग्लोबल नॉर्थ आपका है जापान, यूरोपियन यूनियन, नाटो, यूएस, कनाडा, ऑस्ट्रेलिया, न्यूजीलैंड, साउथ कोरिया. ये है आपके वो देश जो आपके आते हैं ग्लोबल नॉर्थ में. ओके, इंडिया जो है वो हमेशा से ग्लोबल साउथ को ही सपोर्ट करता आया है. आई मीन अगर हम मिडिल ईस्ट में देखें तो द ओनली कंट्री इन द मिडिल ईस्ट विच इज पार्ट ऑफ ग्लोबल नॉर्थ, मतलब भू उत्तर का जो हिस्सा है जियो पॉलिटिक्स में, वो है आपका इसराइल। बाकी जितने हैं वो ग्लोबल साउथ से ही आइडेंटिफाई किए हैं। आप अरब लीग को देख लीजिए, सऊदी अरेबिया, यूनाइटेड अरब एमिरेट, कतार, बहरीन, कुवैत, ईरान, ये जो है ग्लोबल साउथ से ज्यादा उनका आइडेंटिफिकेशन है। ओके, हैविंग सेड दैट, इंडिया भले ही ग्लोबल साउथ का पार्ट है, वो अपने आप को आज ग्लोबल नॉर्थ से ज्यादा आइडेंटिफाई करने की कोशिश कर रहा है। हमारा इकोनॉमी बहुत डेवलप्ड है, वी आर द फिफ्थ लार्जेस्ट इकोनॉमी एंड we may even soon surpass Germany as well. Not Germany, I guess. Japan, maybe we may soon surpass. We don't know when, but eventually. Okay, so ये जो हम देख रहे हैं रिसेंट टाइम्स में, जो ग्लोबल नॉर्थ का आइडेंटिफिकेशन है, इसकी वजह से बहुत सारी इम्प्लीकेशंस भी है कि जो हमारे नेबरिंग कंट्रीज है, लिविंग आउट पाकिस्तान एंड चाइना असाइड, बाकी के जो हमारे नेबरिंग कंट्रीज है, दे आर नॉट इन अलायंस विथ इंडिया बेसिकली. Basically, Nepal is moving away from India and they are going towards China. Bangladesh has been over a slow, steady way, has been moving towards China. आप श्रीलंका का देखोगे तो ओवर द ईयर वो भी मूव किया है चाइना की तरफ. मालदीव्स, आई मीन अभी तक मालदीव्स ने मतलब कभी ये नहीं था कि हिम्मत करने की कि भाई इंडिया जो है वो हमारा देश छोड़ के चला जाए, बट अभी जो मालदीव्स में इलेक्शन हुए हैं और वहां का जो पीएम है वो लिटरली बोल रहा है कि इंडिया को अपना मिलिट्री बेस यहाँ पे खाली करना है. मालदीव्स इज लाइक लिटरली आस्किंग इंडिया है, यू प्लीज क्लियर योर मिलिट्री बेसिस हियर. एंड यू नो व्हाट Maldives has done? The new president of Maldives didn't visit China, didn't visit India, they visited Turkey. Now what is this implication? Turkey is one of the pole holders between the Europe and the Asia. They are the middle power in the Middle East. I mean, like they are kind of king in some ways, basically in the Middle East. They are somebody who act as a counter to Russia as well, counter to Iran, but at the same time they can also neutralize this European influence as well. That is Turkey, basically in the Middle East. Muizzo, who is the prime minister, president of Maldives, in his first visit goes to Turkey. Basically, he goes there, he signs military deals and whatever those things with Erdogan. Okay, Turkey doesn't have very sound relations or smooth relations with India since the independence. I mean, it has been a sort of struggle with India. Okay, India needs to convince Maldives to kind of realign itself with SARC and India, basically. Over the year, it has also been seen that influence of India has waned away in BRICS. Basically, BRICS is an economic bloc of Brazil, Russia, China, India, South Africa, and they are the emerging economy, and they contribute towards the world's GDP, greater share of the world's GDP. BRICS has surpasses G7. आपको पता है G7 को हमने सरपास किया, ब्रिक्स टुगेदर मिला करके. It has wide-ranging application, but at the same time, when we are supposed to continue with BRICS and maybe negotiate, I'm not saying कि आपको pro China होने की जरूरत है, but you have always the hand of Russia. आप रशिया का सहारा ले सकते हो to negotiate with China border dispute के लिए. You can negotiate that you can leave certain land away and move out from India. You can negotiate with China with the help of Russia. But that's India hasn't thought about it. What India has gone, they've straight away gone into the US lapdog, basically. I mean, I should not use the word lapdog, but they've gone into the area where कि आप यूएस आपको कुछ भी बोलेगा और आप मान लोगे. ये हुआ है. अमेरिका आपको कुछ भी बोलेगा आप मान लोगे. That's what has been happening, unfortunately, in the recent time. However, the recent incident of the foiled plot by US for assassinating of the Sikh separatist Pannoon probably is a wake-up call for India in many ways, especially the Indian diplomats on the miscalculation of US, thinking the US is using us as a pawn or a proxy against China, maybe US is going to stand up for us. But unfortunately, they haven't. In fact, they filed the plan. Number two, there is another reason why there is another wake up call for India. Basically, recently there has been this ongoing war between the Israel and the Gaza Hamas. Okay, I have done my live on Israel Palestine conflict. One can look at it into detail what that is. Basically, I have covered little bit of history, but I have mostly covered the current issues and trends around it. Okay, one can look at that live Israel Palestine conflict explained to get some understanding of the background little bit. Okay, let's come back to India. India actually goes in support of Israel. They back Israel and they stand with Israel for what happened on 7th October. And fine, naturally, one condemns the terrorist attacks by Hamas, which is understandable and it should be as it should. Okay. However, the Israel's response has been uh, indiscriminate bombing of the civilian with 70 to 80% casual, the death reported as being women and children in the Gaza, especially among the dead civilians. This is as per the United Nations report. India hasn't called for a ceasefire, unfortunately. Though there was a resolution in UN where they asked the countries that should uh, Israel clear out West Bank, Golan Heights, and those sort of thing. India voted in favor of that resolution, as in a positive that they should clear out. But on the other hand, when there was a call for a ceasefire and some sort of humanitarian truce, India abstained basically. So, I mean, it looks like India wants to play safe here, but it's being kind of pro-Israel, more kind of aligned. Okay, in a bit here. What this has done basically, I'm not saying that India needs to change its policy anything dramatically, but there are certain changes, okay, which is required. Okay, uh, where was I? Yeah, I was pointing out that in India, right? Uh, there is this currently this anti-Muslim bigotry which has kind of propped up thanks to the Hindutva nationalism as well. And uh, this has kind of meant that any country that's kind of fighting the Islamic terrorist means an ally of India. I mean, that's has been this perception among this mass of BJP voters or base voters among the BJP, basically. Okay, mostly BJP. Okay, so this has always meant that there is a compromise here, okay, for India, which has been like historically been somewhat pro-Palestinian in public. Though behind the scene we had a relation with Israel, but in public it was somewhat pro-Palestinian. Okay, this has somewhat a compromise. Okay, uh, so Qatar recently announced death sentence for 8 ex-Navy officers for India, basically who were said to be spying on behalf of Israel. Okay, 8 Indian ex-Navy officers. Okay, and while if you look at it from point of view of this intelligence and sort of covert operation, India is daring, no doubt. I do, to an extent, welcome it, especially if you are trying to assassinate sick terrorist. Maybe welcome, yeah, because at the end of the day, we don't know what they may do. But anyhow, keeping that aside, this death sentence was given by the Qatar government. Okay, India, US did not come to help India in this situation. They didn't come to India. They didn't come to help India in this situation. They didn't come. Israel didn't come to help India in this situation, even though Qatar government says the Indian Navy officers, ex-Navy officers, were spying on behalf of Israel. Okay, they didn't come to help. Who helped? Turkey helped. Russia helped. Iran helped. They and even Saudi Arabia. They came on the board to discuss with Qatar official and to postpone this execution. And Qatar has agreed to say that yeah, I mean, we are not going, we are ready to hear from the other point of view. We may stop the execution for now, thanks to Russia's intervention. So this again proves that despite, India's moving towards, US, Israel, when it comes to us being in trouble, it's always Russia to the rescue. Here again, it basically proves that same point. Okay. And as I told, we have been getting, we our influence has been decreasing in BRICS. Many members of SARC are not aligning with India, they're aligning more with, uh, uh, China. And there is another blow, recent double blow for us. UNESCO, right? Pakistan was voted as the head of Asia Pacific UNESCO, basically. Not India, but Pakistan. Out of, I mean, 38-18. So 18 in favor of India, 38 in favor of, uh, Pakistan, which is kind of a blow in a many way. If you look at it, even from right wing cultural Hindutva point of view, it's a blow basically. The reason it's a blow is we as a UNESCO, we recently announced Dholavira as a UNESCO heritage site. We got that approved, and I'm sure there are plenty of sites, beautiful sites, historical sites in India which can be promoted or potentially be helped to promote as a UNESCO heritage site. Pakistan, I feel, has some golden opportunity to do that unless they lose their brains, which is said to be the norm there. But yeah, I mean, this is kind of a blow. So, it's time that the current government rethinks its geopolitical stance. And another reason why it needs to rethink the geopolitical stance is US is a declining power. It's a declining empire. Why do you want to align yourself with a declining empire, basically, or a declining power? There is this acceleration of de-dollarization going on. 25% of the world's transactions are happening in yuan. I mean, dollar is fading away. So currently, if I remember correctly, around 58% of the world's transaction goes in dollar, down from 74% in 2000, basically. So, I mean, it has big time accelerated. In 20 years, you have come down from 74% of dollar transaction to just 58% is like a big blow. Okay. So, China is emerging. Uh, I mean, even if US has backstabbed India, it has backstabbed on this issue of our ex-Navy officer getting punished, and US hasn't come to our rescue when we thought they would. Six separatists was being assassinated. They exposed the plan, and nothing was going ahead. Okay, US has closed the raw officers. They have expelled the other diplomats, and the request for the new office has been pending and they haven't approved it yet, basically. So this is the latest update. So in my opinion, that in a long term, India needs to think like this, that okay, maybe China is a border threat, but does India really want to be a Ukraine? Does India really want to be new Syria? Or does India really want to be playing the role of, Iraq, basically? India certainly doesn't want that, basically. Pakistan already went through that. Pakistan played a role of proxy state for US war against communist Afghanistan, basically. But today you see where Pakistan is. So India needs to think that this is not an option. The best option, in my opinion, is India needs to realign itself with Russia, get along with Russia. Okay. Russia is winning the Ukraine war hands down. Okay. They're winning this hands down. I mean, it's a clean sweep. Okay. Russia is winning it. So the current government needs to formulate a policy where they realign itself with Russia. If the border issues or discuss border issues with China are discussed with Russia, if they can provide help, Russia can help you negotiate. It's negotiable. Okay. Maybe they can leave certain land and we can get back certain amount of area. Maybe it's a possibility if it's negotiated. Okay. Then you have uh, rise of middle power. When I say rise of middle power, historically in Middle East it was only Israel and Turkey which were the kind of bosses. Israel is the boss, which is the founding member of NATO, and Israel is another boss which was playing that role. But now you see new bosses in Middle East. You see UAE as a boss. You see Saudi Arabia as a boss. You even see Iran as a boss, basically. I mean, Iran has a lot of issues of their own, but they still play a heck lot of things, role, influence, basically. And there is another thing which cannot be ignored: growing Chinese influence in Middle East. Unlike the US, which has been relying on this proxy war in the, let's say this Iraq and Iran, Iraq, Syria, and Israel, uh, China has been relying on their economics, infrastructure development, investment, trading in yuan for oil. Basically, that has been the way to influence, and that has worked. Even the initiative of BRI, which is Belt and Road Initiative, okay, that has actually given a leverage to the Chinese in the Middle East. I mean, India needs to look at this middle power. Even Turkey. I mean, I'm not saying you need to be outright friends with Turkey, but you don't even want to be an enemy of them. That's not a wise thing. Okay. You need already we have Israel as kind of friend with India, but try getting more with countries like Saudi Arabia, UAE, Kuwait, Bahrain, Qatar. Have economic relations with Kuwait, Qatar, Bahrain, Jordan. Kuwait, Qatar, Bahrain, Jordan. Why do I say that? Because their currency is much stronger than US. And you ditch the US dollar for trade in there for currencies, basically, which is actually beneficial for us, okay? Because more of those currency come to our country, right? It means we can outperform dollar in terms of our currency. Economic relation with these country. When I say Bahrain, Kuwait, Qatar, okay, Jordan. Diplomatic relations with Saudi Arabia. Diplomatic and economic relation with Saudi Arabia, Iran, UAE. Okay. Try to go for with Turkey as well, but let's see, give it a try. Okay, I just say that. Okay. Diplomatic relation. Okay. Russia, diplomatic, economic, and military, always. Okay. Then you have countries in East Asia which also play a very pivotal role of this potential middle power. I mean, if you look at North Korea and South Korea, North Korea has been grossly underestimated, in my opinion, grossly underestimated. Okay. The reason I say it's underestimated is because despite this international sanction and despite this being the hermit kingdom of the world, they launched their own satellite. They were able to do trade for weapons with Putin. They started getting investments from Chinese, and the North Korea's Kim Jong-un has been able to inaugurate this some sort of tourism industry within North Korea. Okay, despite all of that. Okay, so that also tells that provided there is market changes, maybe North Korea has good potential of future ahead developing. Okay, so let's not ignore that. Okay, South Korea. I mean, I wonder if South Korea and North Korea united, right? They would be the Asia's second largest superpower apart from India and China. Apart from India and China, they will be the second or third largest superpower. I'm categorically saying this. Okay, there is a big reason why. Okay, but of course, South Korea, Japan, Taiwan, Singapore, and even North Korea, India, and even Mongolia. India should have diplomatic and economic ties with this country. Okay, they should not hesitate doing trade with North Korea. Don't care about what US says or what West thinks. Okay, don't care. India should continue trading with North Korea, South Korea, Japan, Taiwan, Singapore, and even Mongolia. Okay, because you look at China, China is getting hold of India's neighbors. Why not get hold of Chinese neighbors? North Korea, Mongolia, even Kyrgyzstan. Kyrgyzstan is a Central Asian Republic, which is a neighbor of China. Why not get hold of them? That can be helpful, okay, along with the Middle East powers and with Russia as the kind of, equal partner, friend partner, okay. That can be very good policy. Focus on SARC, get the concerns of these neighboring countries, get Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, Nepal, and uh, uh, Maldives, Myanmar on board, Bhutan on board from with our side, okay. These things will go a long way in improving the India's foreign policy. uh, had these countries been in declining, had China been declining, had Russia been declining, had South Korea, North Korea's, the prospect was finished, okay, I would have said happily go with US, go with Israel, go with NATO, okay. Had that been the case, I would have said that, but that's not the case. In Middle East, I see there are a lot of Muslims who are more rich than many people around the world, basically, who own businesses and startups. So India should look towards that prospect as well. That cannot be ignored. Yeah, Aristophanes, hi, how are you? And go ahead.
Hey, how are you? I'm fine.
I'm good. I'm good. Yeah, go ahead. What do you wanted to say?
So today's topic is geopolitics.
Yes.
So do you think India should, what should India aim for? To
Okay,
become a
so
superpower?
I don't know, because India's aim is not superpower. India's aim is Vishwaguru. We are Vishwaguru, okay, but only thing with Vishwaguru is that you only become a religious, ethno-religious state, basically, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you're already Vishwaguru. You distribute Bhagavad Gita. You have medical commission which has this photo of Dhanvantri. Yeah, I mean that says that we are already Vishwaguru, but you're not a superpower. China didn't say that we wanted to stick with some ethno-religious narrative. We want to go ahead and be an economic superpower. They overtaken manufacturing industry long back. They have overtaken car manufacturing. They have overtaken semiconductor industry, and guess what? They're now even overtaking the supercomputers industry of US. And fifth, despite US sanction, China was not allowed to enter the space station. Guess what? China launched its own space station. I mean, that speaks volumes, man. I mean, I'm not joking here. Are you kidding me? You put sanction after sanction after sanction, trade tariff after trade tariff. You continue that, and guess what? China has like boomed. You have accelerated its boom, basically. Okay, what could have been in next, say, like 15 years will be now in 4 or 5 years, basically. That's how much boom you have done. US basically sanctions. Same is the case with Russia. They put sanctions on the Ukraine war, and for many reasons, I think India has taken a very bad stance in Ukraine war. I always feel that India should have been pro-Russia. I always think that for some reason, because this, if you look at the tweets of the official government, the accounts, what they have been tweeting is when Israel-Gaza war happened, you know, government didn't call for a ceasefire, while at the same time condemn the Hamas attack, which should be condemned. I agree that, but I don't think it's justifiable to continue a genocide which consists of 70% women and children as civilian population for the work done by the terrorists, basically. Okay, I don't think that's fair, and probably India should have been more condemnable or harsh towards that. But on the other hand, when the Ukraine-Russia war was going on, the official accounts in India were suggesting to Putin to go into dialogue. But that was never suggested to Netanyahu to go into dialogue with, PLO or something like that behind the scene. But yeah, that's how the situations are. So global South kind of See, is India not? I mean, recent trend. What you see in the UNESCO, what you see, uh, with US, and what you see in this Israel-Gaza war, and the international community, right? They have actually gone against India, who were in our favor once. We should not make more enemies. We should make more friends. That should be our goal. Okay.
Like, should we be
Uh,
pro China for our own good?
okay. When you say pro China, maybe economically, yeah, maybe economically. Okay, maybe, but not diplomatically. Not necessarily in terms of diplomatically. If you look at border issues of India and China, right? Many
Yeah.
again, Israel-Palestine border issue is also created by British. It's an irony that wherever British ruled as an imperial force, they created on purpose these border issues. Guyana was ruled by who? British. Today Guyana is asking for a border with Venezuela. They are fighting it out, propped up by US. Israel and Palestine is basically a border issue rather than just ethnicity issue, if you look closely, okay? And these borders were drawn, if you look at the West Bank and Gaza, this border was drawn by Brits. They identified that basically, and they did it basically, okay? They messed it up, and they provided this to UN. And guess what? Today, who is suffering this war? Civilians of Israel and Palestine are suffering basically on this, okay? And who is continuing this project? US is continuing this project by indirectly backing this war basically. Same thing with India Pakistan, messed up border, but who is continuing this project? Where NATO and West is somewhat continuing this project by exporting the jihadists to Bangladesh. UK exports Islamic extremists to Bangladesh. I mean, after training them in Salafism, they're exported to Bangladesh. That's the unfortunate thing. A country which claims to be fighting terrorism. Okay, uh, so this is the situation now, basically. Now, even China and India's border issue was created big time by the Brits. Okay, reason because when the Tibet was there, Tibet had a very good relation with this British imperial force. Okay, Britishers promise that they will make sure that Tibet remains a separate country. They will read or draw the border in such a way that you will remain independent. Maybe rest may belong to China. Blah blah blah. They started this kind of narrative. Okay, and they kind of redraw the border. Okay, and
Yeah.
like that, they messed it up. Okay, big time. When the British redraw the border, right? What today China is actually claiming as their land, British actually wanted to give that land to China. That's the reality. Okay, and why they wanted to give? Basically, they were trading off with the lamas of Tibet for their security. Basically, that's how they were saying. Basically, it turns out that's how all this mess started. Okay, nobody pays in attention to these things. Okay, why, how, and this mess came up. India should, instead of I think this was a very dumb move for some reason by the Indian government to do a military joint India-US military exercise in front of the Chinese around India-China border. I feel that it was a kind of move which is bound to backfire. It doesn't work basically, okay? Because China has a military which has advanced its technology. It has made newer strategies or newer things. It has innovated. You can't say the same thing about NATO. NATO is outdated for many reasons if you look at the Ukraine war. Okay. So that's why I said India should come out of this declining empire. Okay. Russia is always there as your kind of father figure to take care of you. Okay, you can always get along with Putin and negotiate with China. I'm sure Xi Jinping will give some thoughts when Putin says something. Okay, so that's how India should look at it. Okay, if China can make stronger influence in our Indian neighbor, why can't India make a stronger influence in Chinese neighbors? North Korea, Mongolia, why not? Maybe that's
Correct,
a good
correct.
option to exploit. Let the US and the West say anything about North Korea, but I feel if India can manage to get some hold with the Kim Jong Un, and I honestly think unified Korea is a very good thing, basically. Why? Because you have the enormous wealth of South Korea and technology of it. On the other hand, you have military and war machinery of North Korea. Can you imagine how that strong thing will be, and add to that potential of the nuclear weapons that North Korea has developed, the nuclear arsenal? Okay, so can you imagine if they both unified, what that would mean, basically? So, I mean, it will be an Asian superpower, nothing short of it, basically. Okay, I mean, they they
Yeah.
have the potential to get off from China and get off from US as well. They do hold some potential of it. But I have to see. I mean, the, these things Indian diplomats needs to explore. What I'm saying here is out of box thinking. Basically, this is little like bit of out of box, which I think the Indian diplomats need to explore. Basically, North Korea may not be an emerging economy if you look at their GDP per capita and those sort of things for many reasons, which is understandable. Okay. However, what is the key thing is their military first country. They have the fourth largest reserve army. Okay, not to underestimate that. Basically, I'm just saying. I mean, India can take some benefits out of it. That's my point, and they too can basically from us.
So what do you think about, the other issue? Do you think that brain drain is an issue in India? We are exporting white collar jobs as well as blue collar
Yeah,
jobs.
yeah. I do agree, and I have to say this has been the problem for quite some time. Say like past 20-25 years, this has been the sort of problem with
It's
the
still rising a lot.
migration. Yeah, and here is the statistic. By 2036, the youth population in India is going to be declining. By 2050, uh, the aged group population is going to double. It's going to be 20%, something like that. I mean, it is going to double down. Okay.
And there still is unemployment.
So, I mean, I don't know whether you vote for a BJP, whether you vote for Congress. I don't care what you vote, but overall, I think India's complete, there is something called as youth dividend. I think India has already kind of lost it big time, unfortunately. Because if you look at now 2023, 2020, by the time they come to 2024, 25, right, already many of them will be in the late 20s. Okay, and you know many youngsters who were born in 2000s and 2010s, they will be the teenagers and early 20s. Okay, so by the time they come to 2036, people born in the 90s should have become the adults, and uh, what do they do? I mean, they would be still doing nothing. I mean, आपको अभी जॉब नहीं मिला तो भाई 2036 के बाद भी अगर नहीं मिल रहा है, then economy is doomed basically.
Yes, I am in my early
Imagine.
20s. I don't earn anything.
Yeah, okay, early 20s you don't earn anything, but you expect that once you complete your graduation, you would expect the educated people with some minimal communication skills would get some decent job, but unfortunately that's not happening. Back in 2014 we used to say अरे अनपढ़ लोगों को तो काम है ही नहीं भाई, उनको तो कुछ मिलेगा नहीं. And we know that the BJP promised us with the 2 crore job, and people voted them to this whooping majority, and everything has followed. But that thing which is lacking, like that employment, that mass job creation, and the financial inflow, right, that has been the kind of missing. Foreign direct investment has increased, but so has the assets and the income of the top 1%, basically. So basically, when the government says there is a lot of coming things, income and money coming from other country to us, what they mean is they are going into the hands of big businesses in India. Basically, it's a trickle down economics, but the trickle down never goes to the workers and the employees of a company, or neither does it go into the unemployed youth's hand. They always go into these hands of CEOs, founders, board of directors, investors, people
Narayan
who,
Murthy's.
yeah, people, yeah, basically like that. Yeah. So, I mean, that's kind of sad. I mean, that's where I'm very kind of disappointed. I'm not going to talk about today's election because for many reasons I understand what the North thinks, Hindi people think, and what South thinks. There are many differences. There are similarities as well, but I'm not going to discuss that. Basically, irrespective whether you vote for a BJP or a Congress, overall the youth dividend has failed. Basically, unfortunately, I mean, what should have been the youth dividend by now may mature very late, or it may not take time at all. I mean, it will not mature at all. Basically, those things. Population
Mm.
dividend, as you called it. Yeah, basically. Yeah. Neo Gibson wants to go ahead and speak something on today's topic. Hello.
I actually have a different viewpoint. Hello, am I audible or am I having a second, like an
Okay.
echo?
No, no
I'm not
echo. You
having.
continue. Yeah, you're not having any echo.
Actually,
Continue.
yeah. To be frank, we should have. I still remember Baba Saheb's resignation letter, in which Baba Saheb actually tells, we should uh, actually join US rather than USSR or any other party. I think that has been a very big deterrent for our growth. A very
Okay,
simple thing.
so
Uh,
that would have made sense because both are superpower. But I think one reason why he suggested US was probably he looked at the planned economy versus market economy, and he also probably looked at the you know uh, kind of industries. Basically, with US and USSR, one big difference. Even though USSR manufacturing and the industrial base was good and it did well to an extent and even outperformed in some areas of the US, US had something else basically. Okay,
no,
US
no,
investments in banks meant you had this kind of consumer industry. You know what I'm talking about, the service sector and the consumer industry, which was actually lacking in the USSR. So I guess one of the main reason why Baba Sahib would have suggested that is this booming sector of services, basically. Okay,
yeah, no, no,
I'm not denying. Huh?
yeah, even I agree with that fact.
Yeah,
Definitely one of the reasons that US grew after post-war is because Europe got
service
destroyed
sector
and
and consumer
no,
industry,
no,
basically.
not the consumer sector. Actually, the industrial sector,
Okay.
manufacturing sector. Actually, what happened? You can see that with the boom of China and India, in the sense that after what is it, Cultural Revolution, where China totally
Hmm.
destroyed themselves. Mao kind
Hmm.
of what do you say? Mao he shook hands with Reagan, if I'm right, and
Hmm.
then they bought the whole manufacturing industry
Okay, it was not.
to
It was not.
USA.
It was. It was not Mao. It was Deng Xiaoping, basically.
No, it's Mao actually.
Deng
It is a
Mao.
no,
Mao
no.
died. Mao died in 1975. You can check the fact.
Uh, yeah,
You
no.
check
It
it.
is Mao only. No,
No, no, no,
I
no.
have
Reagan was from 81 to 89, man. Whom are you fooling?
yeah. If it's not for Reagan, it is
Mao.
Mao was the first one who has opened the industry. It is even though it is given what do you say, the whole thing is given to Deng. Okay, I may not be right with the president of USA, but Mao was one of the first persons to open the industry after the revolution. The American president not so much, but this is one of the reasons that what is the Kissinger got the World Peace Award. But not only that, even in the fact that when you're talking about Russia being a mediator between China and India, actually the Sino-Soviet split happened because of Indo-China war. this is one of the dark histories of socialism that we have to understand. And China opening up to, oh, what do you
But
say?
but
Uh,
but but I'm talking about the present. As I said,
yeah, yeah,
geopolitics always changes, right? I mean, I
and
agree your point that maybe in those time, maybe India could have afford to be taking more side of US than USSR. But you should keep in mind we had something called as non-aligned movement. Basically, one of the main reason was this proxy wars. Okay, you know this Korean War. You know that North Vietnam, South Vietnam. Then, if I remember, there was another war. I forgot the name. I mean, there were, yeah, you have this wars in Latin America between Soviet bad thing and US bad. There are a lot of things basically. So at that time, the Indian government wanted to
no,
avoid
I'm
the
just
extremes.
specifically mentioning
Hang
about
on, hang on,
yeah, yeah, that's
hang on.
specifically okay.
I get your point. Your specific thing I am not ignoring. I understand, but you look at
Mentioning,
right. Hang on, man. Hang on.
yeah,
Okay. Even within China, there were two parties. One was a nationalist party of Chiang Kai-shek. US and the allies recognized it as the legit of the Chinese, representation of China. Okay.
mm,
Until the 70s, I know India maybe messed it up a little bit here because they voted in favor of People's Republic. Okay. But even then, okay, US was
mm,
recognizing this and Soviet Union was recognizing the PRC, whereas
mm,
US was recognizing the ROP, Republic of
mm,
China. Okay, ROC basically. That's what they were recognizing.
mm,
This thing to keep in mind: the Taiwan was considered as the mainland owner of
mm,
China by US,
mm,
unlike the Soviets. So India was still in NAM, and it was kind of dictated by even both the power to some extent. Okay, I
mm,
mentioned few moments ago that while publicly India was pro-Palestine, behind the scene they were continuing to engage with Israel. They were friends with Israel. There were collaborations, technical knowledge here and there, to and fro. That those things were going on behind the scene. Publicly, in terms of media, maybe we just said, we are pro-Palestine. This human rights infringement, blah blah blah. We all said those things. Okay, I think
yeah, that's
over
a
the yeah,
that and I don't want to go to that place, even though I have an answer for it. See, one of the major reasons that China boomed up post 80s, or whatever, 70s,
they did
post
open their
Mao is that
market. I
uh,
understand. They did. Do you
they opened
understand
the
me?
market.
Whatever you are saying,
See,
I already know that. Okay,
yeah.
you have,
So when
huh,
so when you open up a market, it, they didn't
you,
open up a certain market. They opened up the industrial base. Now, when you
yeah, they
open
did
up an
the
industrial
manufacturing. Mm,
manufacturing base, so it was
yeah,
instant jobs, and it was, and even now they only produce. They have like around I forgot what is the
it's
percentage of
basically, you can easily say it's the world's factory. China, basically, world's
world
factory.
factory in
Yeah.
world factory in such the whole point of factories is that it is instant jobs. There's no lesser unemployment, whereas India opened it in the 90s when the outsourcing happened. So specifically because we are like a English, because we are a old English colony, so it only specifically chooses the best top of the top. This has
Mm.
been the problem for us. And going with China or Israel's thing is a complicated thing. It's very understandable in the sense that, because we were also a colonized country, we stood with them for this. And for Israel also is not seen as such a big demon till 90. We see another reason for that is because uh, Israel itself was a socialist country till 70s or 70s. It was a kind
Yep,
of
yep,
alliance. Even
yeah.
there's a huge past of
You
socialism that
know,
we
Goldie
have to
Meir,
maintain.
Who was the PM of Israel, was herself a socialist. I mean, basically,
Yeah,
she believed in this labor Zionism, basically, those sort of ideology. little bit
Yeah,
of
it was
communism and those sort of things. Yeah, she had, I guess, but that's not the thing. I'm just talking on the real issue core and the possible solution. Okay, because
and then the
if
possible.
I'm not saying that India should you. I'm not saying take US completely away. I'm not just saying that. What I'm saying is you don't trust them when it comes to the matter of alliances. Make sure you have the real good ones who back you. Basically, you understand what I'm
It
saying?
may.
Countries that can back
I,
you.
no, the main problem that we can't be backed is because we don't have anything to be backed on.
Okay.
This is the main issue. This is the main issue that we have. We spoke about Russia and Ukraine. India said something about Russia, but we actually subsidized. We only got the oil from them.
Yeah, that's why I
Just
said
right.
this was a very that's what I have been saying. You understood. You are just telling the same thing which I am saying, but in a
Uh,
different way. I mean, you're saying almost the same thing as I said, but in a very different way. That's what you're doing here.
yeah, the main problem that we have is we don't provide anything extra. I've gone to Southeast Asian countries and I've spoken to people over there. And one thing they say is the one problem with India is that they play this Big Brother game. Okay,
Hmm.
without we don't do anything for those countries. Whereas China, they do something for the countries. This is one of our
I
major
agree.
faults.
I agree. I definitely agree. And by the way, I have written a blog, and in fact, I have even suggested this is actually good thing that India engages in African countries. Okay, we may not do in the. I mean, we can have allies around. What are the potential allies which can be beneficial going ahead? Okay, for the near future. Okay, uh, and then you have Africa. Okay, maybe given
See,
the economies in Africa. Hang on, listen to me, folks. First, listen
yeah,
to me.
yeah,
Given the economies in Africa, right? China is
yeah.
investing in infrastructure. Okay,
Hmm.
maybe India should look towards those direction. Industries, service sector within Africa. Then you
But
have potential for even infrastructure to go there. Okay, those sort of thing in African countries to kind of get some influence there. You understand my point? So then you can say even to African country, yeah, we are offering you something. Maybe that's a way to get some attention. You understand? I have mentioned this in one of my blog where I have written. I will share that
I'm
blog
not.
as well.
Yeah, yeah,
Geopolitics.
yeah. The main problem with that also is that we have subpar infrastructure within our country. We
I'm
got
not
a
saying all of
see.
it, but there are. Hang on, hang on. I agree that when you compare to any other country, yeah, I get it. Okay, but
See,
there are a potential areas of there are. Hang on, there are various players within our country. There are private and public sector and potential improvement. Okay,
uh,
potential improvement. You look at our quality of highway, right? The quality of highway is very good. Okay, but many African countries don't even have that. Maybe we can say, hey, you give us the contract of our public sector, and maybe we can help you build a quality highway. There are good things
see,
like that. I'm
see,
suggesting.
yeah, yeah, I'm not disagreeing. Even the main thing is that post-liberalization of 1970, we have become an economy which doesn't have our manufacturing has shrunk, our agriculture has shrunk, and we have this. Actually,
Okay, you
even
are saying
Amitabh
the
Ghosh
service
has a book
sector.
where he goes,
You're
yeah,
saying
our
we are
service sector, yeah, our
basically, let's
strength
say
has been
IT.
kind of,
Yeah, basically only the
yeah,
IT industry. Yeah, I completely get that point. I'm not denying it. Okay, I'm not denying
that
it,
has kind of,
but but you need to look at one more factor which is kind of ignored in recent time over the year.
hmm,
You know what?
hmm,
If you look at the data of Chinese investment on R&D versus Chinese investment of US, the China US investment
hmm,
in R&D has been stagnant. China's has
yeah,
grown exponentially. Okay, they have been growing like that. Okay, India is
hmm,
nowhere in the picture. So what one needs to learn the lesson is manufacturing is not just simply like that. Okay, it has lot of technological aspect. That's where R&D comes. So it means a good chunk of your economy should be in education and R&D, which is what I have been arguing about, basically.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Not only that, there's an advantage that even China has being a dictatorial country. Foxconn tried to create a what do you say industry in Tamil Nadu. It failed because they wanted. We were making fun of Krishnamurti on this. What do you say? We should work nine. What is it called? 70 hours a day as a
Narayana
youngster.
Murthy.
But yeah,
Yeah.
Narayan Murthy, sorry. Yeah. But actually, Foxconn were all the companies which actually works on 12 hours a day.
Mhm.
I don't know, 10 years ago, you could have seen the pictures of, the iPhone iPhone companies were like, in production companies which would make nets that people could jump, they won't die. So
Hmm.
even work culture wise, also there's an advantage that China has, which is undemocratic for sure.
Okay,
And and
here is the thing. Here is the thing. I actually recently came across one of the Chinese users. Okay, he's authentic user,
mm,
and I had a some went through to talk about with him. Okay, what I came to know
mm,
is though at the top level there is this dictatorship of Politburo and the General Secretary Xi Jinping pulling the string. Okay, when it
mm,
comes to the areas of handling the administration local level, it's
mm,
decentralized. People have a lot more power there. Okay, and there is another thing. Okay, the
mm,
Chinese have this app. Okay, where though here that dictatorship means we understand generally what when you criticize government you will be pushed back. Okay, you can be like
mm,
thrown out this thing, and one doesn't forget the Tiananmen Square one. I'm not in favor of those things, but here is the thing. Over the year, Chinese have learned one thing, that in order to rule the population,
oh,
you need some
go,
amount
go.
of their. Hang on, listen to me. How their strategy is working. Okay,
Hello.
you need to make them convinced that they're for you. Okay, and this is where what they have done. They have developed an entire app exclusively for the government to be criticized and failures to be pointed and the things that they are not happy with. Okay,
And
exclusively
yeah, I
one
have
app, their own separate. Yes,
yeah,
it's like a
again, I
literal
have heard
complaint
of
app.
it. No, no,
They
I
they
have
they they
heard
they,
about
they call
this.
it as they call it as Weibo. Okay, that's the app
Vivo,
they
yeah.
use. Yeah, the Chinese
I
company. They don't allow the Western companies to operate. The great firewall of China. They don't allow it, but they allow this app. You can complain as much as you want. Okay, you can even tell about communist parties policies if they think public thinks that this is wrong and this needs to be corrected. So there the party and politburo decides what kind of response needs to be given, what changes, that is always getting accommodated. And over the year, when it was
uh,
so huge initially complaint, they brought it down to like kind of 50% from say like 80%. I mean, there has been reduction. This has kind of worked. Okay, I'm not saying that
maybe what you're
dictatorship.
saying is true to one part. I have heard different stories. That's not a point.
I
I'm
mean,
not into
that's fine.
debating.
I'm
Yeah,
just
yeah, I'm not.
telling that there are a lot of things we don't know what happens within China, because we know that their internet service is very different from ours. Okay, their firewall is different from our. We use
Right.
lot of this US based media and US based content to rely on
Mm,
Chinese, what China does. Okay, but we never
mm,
know what actually happens within there. Only when the tourists or people who go there and experience and take share their stories do we really come to know what China is like. For example, few years back, my aunt actually went to Shanghai. I didn't know what Shanghai was like. All we knew was, yeah, China is an emerging economy, but it's a dictatorship. I'm just talking when we were in UPA too. Okay, she went to Shanghai, and guess what?
yeah.
When she came back, she told Shanghai is like more beautiful than US. She was shocked. Okay, it was more beautiful than US. She got many toys, electronic things, blah blah blah. And we were like, oh wow, that's interesting. I didn't know about this. I didn't get to hear about this in the media. My uncle
Yeah,
also
even
went there. My uncle was once working with UAE, and he had an opportunity to go in China, and he said there is something else. Okay, and he experienced a totally, different aspect. So what I'm saying is we just don't know much what happens inside. Okay. Yeah, while at the top
no,
level, when you look at
actually,
the top, hang on, when you look at the top
hmm.
level, when you look at the Communist Party and its ruling, yeah, you can say it's a dictatorship. Well, fair enough, call it out dictatorship. I am not denying it. Okay, but there is a lot of decentralization within. Basically, they have their own autonomous regions as well. Okay, that's
No, no,
also there. A lot of those
I'm
things.
not also going to fight. And I'm not also not going to fight about it. My father is also a communist who have been to China. He also spoke about same thing about all these things. But I meet other students who come from exchange and all, and we have a different dialogue. But this is not something that I think will give a true equivalence.
By the way, how do you know there is a law in China which bans unemployment? Literally, I mean, unemployment. You're not allowed to be unemployed. You need to get into job. You need to get into industry. There is a law literally there.
Isn't
Do you
that a
know about that?
problem? Isn't that a problem actually? This is a
No,
problem. Another thing
but
is this is a problem, and this has been even in USSR. It's nothing new uh, to anything, but it's also a problem. Actually, and a healthy unemployment. This is okay, okay, and there's even though there is a law, doesn't mean it actually encompasses all China. It's just in the cities, whatever. And and this is not something that I actually want to debate
mhm.
because we both are from different positions. We see it in that. Now, another thing that I felt like what we spoke about, which you spoke about, are divisions with China and India. We have a geographical barrier that is the Himalayas, which makes it very impossible historically for us to conquer each areas. This is one of actually another big what is stranglehold that India has is location. For the matter that you have Himalayas, it's not very easy for China to come and attack, especially
Yeah, I
when there
get
is a
that.
yeah, uh, Tibet.
I'm not. Hang on, I'm not denying any of these things. But despite all that,
Yeah.
you know that when you look at the Galwan Valley War, we lost 2,000 square kilometer. I mean, that's an
We
official military people
the,
accept it. Okay, hang on, let me
we
complete.
also had
What I'm,
wins. Yeah,
yeah,
we
we
also
we
had
had,
wins in it.
huh? Fine, we
We
had
also
wins,
had
but
some,
huh?
and it is one is just a very small area, and we have also have small wins within that same war. It's just that we don't proclaim it that much. One thing is that
Doesn't
whole of
matter.
India it is good. No?
See, you may claim wins within it. It's almost like you're playing a 50-over match. You claim for a victory in the first 10 over and maybe last 10 over. But what about the middle overs? Something
It
like
does,
that. Okay.
but
Hang on,
beyond that,
hang on,
there is
hang on, hang
as
on,
far
hang
as
on.
there
Are
is
you?
some.
Wait. I'm
Uh,
getting your point. Okay. What I'm
uh,
suggesting is, okay, Himalayas. I get that it's not easy, but you know, the if you look at the budget of Chinese military, yeah, that's huge. Okay, but consider this, right? Consider this thing. Okay,
hmm, hmm,
you can have an ally like Russia and maybe get to a table and negotiate it. There is a possibility. I'm just saying there is a possibility. I'm not saying that you need to have a military tie with China or you need to have some sort of diplomatic complete tie with China. I mean, you can't have a permanent enemy or a permanent friend. Okay, you understand that point basically. Okay,
no, no,
you do
this is
you
what I'm
you you,
saying.
you hang on. Listen. Compare
Hmm,
our fight with China versus fight with Pakistan. Pakistan is like a bachu. It's a cakewalk.
hmm,
It's nothing.
hmm,
Okay, you understand that
hmm.
my point. China's is
Yeah,
not like that. It's more than military. That's what I'm suggesting you. You understand? US has military bases in Middle East. They keep bombing shit out there. They can do that. But still, China is able to get they're not bombing, they're not, having any separate big military bases like US and Middle East. Still, they have able to manage Saudi Arabia, UAE, and all these people to come more towards them. You understand my point? It's it's not just military. You're maybe looking at military point. Of course, I did cover military point, but I'm suggesting go even explore beyond military. Apart from military, there are other things you need to have within the geopolitics. You get my point?
Yeah, that's the
See,
point I'm telling you.
China has neighbors where they can influence and get to their side. Maldives, Sri Lanka, maybe Bangladesh, Bhutan, they can get to their side. Maybe they can agreement, okay, in their favor.
Hmm. Hmm.
Why not India have such things with Mongolia or North Korea,
China
basically?
India cannot have this with
You
Mongolia or
tell me,
something because
given the, hang on, tell me, given the economy of North Korea, you are saying India doesn't have anything to offer to North Korea? Tell
no,
me.
because we don't have, it's not that we don't have anything to offer to North Korea. There is nothing beneficial. There's no give or take
What?
for North Korea.
No,
That's the problem. See,
hang
when you're
on.
doing a trade,
You look at, here is the thing. Have you looked at North Korea and Mongolia, their market? They don't have any organized market, I think. There are
they
many
have a
companies,
market.
there are many Indian companies, and there are many even businesses
See,
and even government sector. They can offer a lot, right? You
they
understand my point?
can't. No, first of all, there is one. I don't know which Mongolia you're talking. The Inner Mongolia, which is a colonized place of
Not in
China,
Inner Mongolia. I'm talking about the
the
independent country
Mongolia.
of Mongolia. Yeah.
In the Mongolia, they actually don't have much to provide to any other places. They are isolated places. Second thing is that we don't have any,
What
what do you
if
say, waterways, which
what if
you
what if
cannot, we don't have any
we
more.
hang
We
on?
can,
What if we listen, yaar, listen.
uh,
Are you
they
sure?
have,
You look at countries around our neighbor, right? When you compare them to
uh,
Mongolia and North Korea, can you say they are more developed? Yes or no?
which one?
When you compare our neighbor like Bhutan, Nepal, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, even Maldives, okay? Can you say they are
Uh,
more developed than North Korea, Mongolia,
no,
statistically?
no, but
What?
they are more.
Bangladesh is not developed compared to them? Serious?
Bang, see, Bangladesh is developed or not
Ma-
is not a point at all. I'll tell you why.
See, I'm saying,
Bangladesh,
see, there are these countries like North Korea and
hmm,
Mongolia, right? Currently,
hmm,
it is influenced by China. If China can take out our neighbor in their favor, why can't we take? Why can't
you
even look at
can't,
that possibility? Hang
you,
on, listen. Here is the
hmm,
problem, right? These
hmm.
countries don't have anything, but we have many things now that we can offer to them.
But it's
Understand?
still
I
a
mean,
tit for
com-
tat.
we may not have enough for a country like people, many of the countries in maybe Middle East or maybe in East Asia. Okay, we may not have enough, but we have enough for maybe countries in Africa and countries
First
in
of
like
all,
North Korea and
first,
Mongolia. That's what I'm saying.
no. First of all, Mongolia is landlocked. Okay, you cannot have any, you understand the idea of this long shipping trades. It is tough. Second thing is this by road, it is going to be tougher because of the boundary over there. Unless, China itself builds that, what is it called?
Belt and Road
Whatever road,
Initiative.
Belt and Road networks,
Yeah.
etc. But that is still going to be a lot of, what is the infrastructural thing? Why what do you say, Malaysia, Singapore are doing well? They are port cities. Why Hong Kong does it is port cities. They have those unique conditions that help them to grow. That same thing doesn't apply to Mongolia because of its location. Location is the important
Here
part
is
of it.
do you know one thing? North Korea is the one of the country which is richest in these natural resources.
Hmm.
Do you understand that?
Yeah.
India can say we can
So
offer you some of the service sector things to you. in return for your natural resources.
What natural
Can't you even
resource?
work out that?
Why would they want to work it out? They are a proxy of China. Why do they want to work it out?
That's you're understanding my thing, right? That's a
Yeah, I understand.
you understand, right? How do you counter this thing, right? My
This
plan.
is whatever plan you have, it has to be worked out in a what do you say? You can see
You know,
like we
okay,
can.
wait. You know what? Donald Trump got
Hmm,
Moon Jae-in and Kim Jong-un at the same summit. He made them sit
yeah,
together. Trump could make it do.
yeah.
Okay,
Trump was good. That's it.
so
That is diplomacy for sure. And he whatever he
so
there are parts of
that's
Trump
what
which was,
that.
but
Hang on. That's what. Hey,
that one.
listen.
Hmm.
Did North Korea ask anything from US, or did US say we are going to give you anything? No, nothing. Basically, okay. Still there was an
US is
agreement
all
between the
about
two. Hang on. Arre, listen, yaar. Still the agreement was signed between those two countries that we would work together for going ahead, blah blah blah. You know who messed it up? Biden messed it up. To be honest, I'm
yeah,
not joking here. Biden messed it up.
yeah.
India can. That's what I'm. Do you realize the what possibilities I'm opening up here?
The problem is not about the possibilities that open up there. It is totally to do with the geopolitics that is there in
Look,
what do you say, South Korea.
have you looked at the currency of North Korean won versus Indian rupee? You know what I'm
What does
suggesting
it
is
do? What does
what?
it do? It doesn't do anything. It's the way. What is the comparison? Let's see.
I mean, it's
See,
like what a dollar is to us, basically something like
hmm,
that for an Indian rupee.
hmm.
Like that, I'm suggesting.
Yeah, that even Qatar is there, no, which is more than that. That doesn't make any huge difference. The one thing is, first thing is resources. Second thing is about location. Actually, anything about geopolitics is locations, and they're in what is there? The in who are the ones who needed the most. When a country is almost a proxy of China, and China and India are not in good terms, what's the point?
Man, okay, yeah, you would you call North Korea as a proxy of Russia? And are you saying Russia and India are not in good terms?
Russia
I
and
mean,
India are never. Russia and India have a very ambivalent relationship, especially in recent times. Uh, but still better. But first of all, Russia and China itself in a very bad relationship, which is only been better due to the Ukraine war.
yeah, fine, but still, Putin managed to get, along with Kim Jong Un. Do you get the point?
It, that's because of the geography, no?
Okay, so are you suggesting then, okay, we should not trade with South Korea, Taiwan, Japan? Yeah, they are also geography then. We're having a relation with those countries, right?
See, a
Geography.
lot of countries we do trade is because of geography. See, why? Which are the countries which we trade in geography? Second thing is also the what do you say? The new what is
Hang
that?
on.
The box.
India provides military support, where in
Hmm.
Singapore, right?
Yeah,
That time you don't remember this geography we gave, right? We are not thinking about
yeah,
geography that time. Then
yeah. It is
why were
waterways. That's what. This waterways. Water is one of the easiest. You read the book called The Box.
okay? So you
So
do you understand that a part of North Korea is exposed to the sea? Do you get the
yeah,
point?
I do. But that area is not easily accessible to India. No. Where the what are the ways we have to go to that area?
We, but Japan's is very much accessible. You're saying we trade with Japan, we are trading with South
We
Korea,
do
all
trade
these
with
countries.
Japan, we do this, but we are
Yeah,
this is
yeah,
still a
yeah.
proxy. It's a proxy. There is actually nothing that South North Korea can give us directly right now, which we have any importance. We don't need to what you say, step in the legs of China. So that is a part where I'm okay. Let it be there. It's much better not to touch that issue than anything.
Maybe that's your opinion. I beg to differ. Okay, I have my different viewpoint. Okay, I
Yeah,
mean,
that's okay.
I'm not saying you change your opinion or anything. I mean, that's your
Yeah,
viewpoint. You have your viewpoint. That's
yeah.
fine. That's your wish. But my perspective was very different on this.
See,
Okay, my take. That's what you you
yeah,
can
yeah.
understand here. Yeah,
Yeah,
basically.
yeah, I understand. I do agree with the actually, truly, frankly speaking, one part which we can have a normal conversation is Africa.
Yeah.
How we do it is depending on the situations. That's something that I 100% agree on. Is that
Okay. Fine.
that will be
Fine.
like, that's something that we can say. Yes, that's all I
No.
can
Okay.
say.
Fine. Okay. Fine.
Yeah,
Thanks.
anyway.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Anyway,
See,
that's a nice
you
topic.
know, Did you listen? Did you listen to my live in the beginning? I said maybe
Hmm.
my suggestion to North Korea may trigger more people, and it's fine. I mean, you responded. Maybe more people will say like that to me, right? They are going to say that. I know that. But despite that, I made my point. Okay, keeping that in my mind. I mean, fine. I do think I didn't know that they're not in Chinese. Like, they are in Chinese. Like, what about South Korea? South Korea is in US. Like, basically. Okay, I know this. Okay, my
Yeah,
point
South Korea
was
has.
about. My point was how to first build a decent alliance, stronger alliance, and how you provide things to people in Africa or show them that what you have something to offer. I'm not saying it's kind of abhorrent to say that India has nothing to offer. Okay, there are
No, no,
other
I'm
things as
saying.
well to offer. Wait, listen, let me complete. Okay, there are many other things to offer. Okay, then see how you can manage with Mongolia, North Korea, this thing. I'm just a suggestion. Maybe we. That's what I said. This is something called as out of box. This is not something in the uh, written thing, or there's something kind of orthodoxy within geopolitics. As I said, geopolitics is different. Today you may have Russia, but maybe future again, say African countries become maybe better than Russia. Maybe we have more stronger alliance with Russian, African countries than with Russia. You never know. There are
Yeah,
infinite possibilities in a multipolar world. Okay, between 1990 to say post the post the collapse of Soviet Union, it was a kind of unipolar world. Though yeah, China was emerging, Russia was kind of in a backdrop. Basically, they had collapsed economy and they had many other issues. Okay, but now it's not like 24 years later. Now we are in a situation which is vastly different. Basically, okay, it's not the same. Like just like how in the 1950s situation were different and not the same. You understood my point? I'm
no,
looking for
definitely.
basically I'm looking for, like, given the current, the coming next 30, 40 years or even few maybe decade extended, assuming that, like, there are many other things. They say that Asian century, right? 21st century as Asian age, right? This perspective, based on that, I'm suggesting this. You understand my point? That's all it was.
Definitely.
Yeah,
Even I believe in a Asian century, and
yeah,
actually, the
yeah.
biggest thing that India needs to do is to increase human capital. That we have not done, and we are still struggling with the caste system that is present in India. Whereas China, which has lesser of these evils, will do better than India, but we still have a chance, let's say. I'm
Fine,
hopeful
fine.
and hopeless at the same time, the way to take it.
Basically, the population, population dividend is nearing its end. Basically, it is like next 13 years before
Mhm.
you see the decline in the youth population, and as the aging population grows, there will be more pressure on the working employees to support their
Yeah, yeah.
family. And unless there is proper rethinking of this economics, you might end up facing more downturn and collapses. You never know, because
No,
aging population puts a pressure on the working population. You get my
yeah,
point, right? Yeah. Okay,
yeah.
you thanks for
And
joining and
no,
keeping
no,
your
no,
point.
actually, the main thing about this thing also can be compensated, like what US has done by migration, which China is also doing. I have heard this certain thing. They are very non-pro, what do you say, uh, migration. Same thing is going for Japan, but that India may not be our India. Just like the in by 1950s, what is going to be USA won't be a white country, like a predominantly white country. It
It'll be
is.
mix of
It is
Hispanics, blacks, colored,
blacks,
various, yeah.
and we don't know what the
Hispanics,
future is, but
mainly
it was a nice
Hispanics.
discussion talking to you.
Yeah.
Thanks
Okay,
for
fine.
taking me on. And bye.
Yeah. Okay, fine. Thanks for keeping your viewpoint here. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Bye.
Okay. So that was Neo Gibson, and I guess he kept his point. Maybe some point were okay and valid, worth discussing, but there are other points where I don't think I can agree on all. But let's see. And I'm just opening up various perspectives. As I said, you rewind my life. I said when I write about geopolitics, I have given it something out of box thought. Basically, this is out of box. I know this when you look at conventional way to approach, it may not sound very good. It may sound outrageous. It may even sound foolish for some. Okay, but this is a thing worth exploring. You never know. Okay. So here is my blog, which I've written in the blog spot regarding the foreign policy and its crisis and what could be done to really improve. Okay, at the same time, given that you don't want to be necessarily completely pro China or completely pro this thing, okay, US, okay, how you can manage that. Basically, say given next 30 years, 40 years, let's say something like that, okay. Then you have in the medium, I do write blogs in the medium.com as well. So you are free to check out my blogs there in the medium.com, and feel free to uh, follow me there, or like or something like that as you wish. But yeah, give it a read if you feel what I think is right. But again, I'm not saying everybody has to agree to my point, but what I'm saying is something of an out of box. Many things or doesn't fit into conventional narrative. Many things may not fit into conventional way of looking at this viewpoint of the worlds. you know it may not fit, but what if it works for India? That's what I am looking at here, basically. So worth a read. Take your time to read that, basically, in the medium as well. Ex Hindu atheist says, have Charvak Lokata. Okay, hi. I guess, I mean, I haven't said to share the live, but anyhow, nobody is viewing. But if anybody is viewing this live, it's worth sharing it. Go share the live um, with your friends or family, or, maybe in social media, or people whom you know. Maybe somebody who is interested in geopolitics and some very different perspectives. Maybe if they're interested, they can look at this live, and it's worth discussion. Okay. uh, but in any case, if nobody is further joining, and we had a long discussion with Neo Gibson and debate with him, basically, and one or two people have joined and kept their perspective, and I answered some of the queries, uh, basically. But yeah, I mean, if not, I will be ending this live. So those who have watched this live or watching this live, I hope you like, share, comment, and subscribe. Hit the bell icon if you like this channel. Let's get to more subscriber, 1K subscriber, and move ahead, spread the word, basically. Okay. So with this, I end my live. Thanks everyone, and bye. Have a good night. Happy Sunday. Okay, let's see next week, coming Friday, with some other topic, basically. Okay, bye.